So the mirror itself is, as I said before, gold chrome and has very pretty little pink diamonds all over it. In the middle of the cross, he has the Jeffree star little logo. So the bottom of it is a little bit different than normal. The bottom portion kind of reminds me of a steak compared to normally when he does like kind of a rounder, more popsicle shaped, I guess holder, you could say. For the actual mirror portion of the mirror, it is a circular mirror, and it has like little decorative fleur-de-lis. So the one kind of interesting thing that I did kind of notice with this particular mirror is that I do feel like it is a bit lighter than his other mirrors, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It is just something I noticed that was distinctly different than the other mirrors that I have purchased from him. Next, I will be showing you guys the palette. So the palette did come in this really nice packaging that looks like a cross, but I do like that you can obviously remove it if you want to buy something from the collection, but you don't want it to have like a cross or a religious symbol on it. This is kind of a good choice. Obviously, it is based upon the Bible, but it could just be any book. It doesn't have to be a Bible. There's nothing really on it that would indicate that unless you knew that it was part of the Pink Religion collection. So the, I guess, beauty Bible itself is a really beautiful pink color, and it is this really like soft kind of a leather, and engraved in it is this beautiful like kind of delicate pattern. This is such good quality, you guys. It is really amazing. So then the binding of the palette does say Pink Religion Jeffree Star, and again looks like a genuine book. Then the back of the palette just as what you would typically see on the back of any makeup palette, just like the weight of the product and other, information. Very pretty though, very, very pretty. Finally, the rim of the palette, not the rim, like, I don't know, the paper of the palette, is gold painted. Also, the closure is magnetic. When you open the palette, you will see a mirror, which I really do like. I like that his palettes, for the most part, have mirrors, and I just feel like when you have a big palette with a lot of colors, I really like to do my makeup and look in the mirror while I use the shadow. I don't want to have to get like another mirror separate to the one that's in the palette. So, and then he also has a protective sheet